In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a front strut assembly on your Acura MDX. Located behind the front wheel, let's get started. Here on the front left, using a 19mm socket, we're going to remove the tire. Remove the tire. Using a 36mm socket, we're going to remove the jam nut. And take it out. Moving to the lower control arm, we're going to remove this clip by sliding it out of the place. Next, we're going to remove the nut using a 19mm ratcheting wrench. Let's get it out. Remove the nut. Now we're going to grab a hammer and tap around this area just to break this loose. Now you can use a small pry bar to make sure that it's separated. Now I'm going to use a bigger pry bar to pull down on the control arm to get it out of the knuckle. Now we want to tap on this area to make sure that the spindle moves freely. Once you get the axle off the spindle, we're going to simply move these out of the way and get the axle off. Next up, we're going to use a 12mm socket to remove the bolt that holds the brake hose to the strut. And take it out. Next up, we're going to detach the ABS cable off of the strut. And for that, we're going to slide it out. And using a small flathead, we can take the clip off by squeezing both sides. And pull it out of the way. Next up, we're going to remove the upper nut for the link. And for that, I'm going to use a set of locking pliers. Make sure when you hold the back of the link, you do not squeeze the rubber with it. That's just to hold it in place so it doesn't rotate on us. Using an 18mm socket, we're going to remove this nut while holding the back in place. Remove your tool and slide the link out of the way. Now we can use a 17mm socket and remove the strut bolt. Now we can use a hammer and tap around this area to slide it off the strut. Now that you have it off the strut, just move it out of the way. Now that we slide it off the strut, we're simply just going to slide the knuckle back into the control arm. And this is just to hold it in place. Just like so. For the top part of the strut assembly, we're going to locate this area right here under the hood. This is part of the wiper cowl. We're going to locate these 3 covers and pop them off using a small flathead screwdriver. Take them all off, put them to the side. Now that we have access to the 3 bolts that hold the assembly in place, let's crack them loose using a 14mm socket. Don't take them out all the way yet. Now that you have them loose, we're gonna remove 2 of them and leave 1 in place. Put it to the side. If you're doing this by yourself, you can remove the last nut that's holding the strut assembly in place and hold the strut with the other hand. And you can slide it out. Now we can slide the new one into place by aligning the holes the same way it came out. And start the knots by hand. Now that we have the strut lined up in the holes and the knots started, we're gonna snug them up. Don't tie them all the way yet. Now we can slide it from the bottom of the ball joint and slide it onto the strut. I recommend to use a bottle jack or a jack stand to put some pressure up and help you slide it onto the knuckle. You can tap the back of the strut to help it align. Remove the bottle jack. Next, we're gonna hook up our wires back up that connect to the strut. We're gonna slide that in place and slide this and clip it in place. Next, we're gonna start the upper nut for the link by sliding it into place. And start your nut by hand. Now we gotta snug up the upper nut, and using a pair of locking pliers, we can hold the link in place while we snug it up. Remember not to squeeze on the rubber boot itself. Snug it up. Now we're gonna torque down our nut to 58 foot-pounds. And remove your pliers. Next, we're gonna hook up the brake line, putting our bolt in, and make sure you start it by hand. And now we can snug it up. Now we're ready to torque it down to 15 foot-pounds. Next up, we're gonna move the whole knuckle assembly out of the way and slide our axle in place. You're gonna try to line it up with the spline and push it in. Just like that. After we get our axle into the hub, we're gonna grab a pry bar, pry down on the control arm, and line up the bottom ball joint. Once you line it up with the hole underneath, just push it in. Now we can start our nut by hand. If you can get our torque wrench over here, the foot-pounds torque will be 65, but in this case, we're gonna use a ratcheting ratchet to get it tight. Just do your best. And don't forget to install the cotter pin, slide it into place, and make sure you hear it click. Now we're gonna install the axle nut, start it by hand, and bottom it out. Snug it up. Now we're gonna torque the axle nut to 242 foot-pounds, and to do so, I grab myself a flathead screwdriver, stick it in between the rotor and the caliper just to hold it in place. Apply some pressure, and it should stay on. And now we can stake the spindle nut. In this case, I'm gonna use a flathead screwdriver and a hammer. We wanna make sure we lock this over here. To do so, place it over, and hit it with a hammer. Next, we're gonna torque down the strut bolt, and to do so, I'm gonna be using this pole jack to imitate the weight of the vehicle. Now we torque it down to 58 foot-pounds. Remove your pole jack. Now we can install the tire back on. Start your lug nuts by hand. And snug them. Now we're gonna torque down our wheel to 80 foot-pounds in a star pattern. And now that we have the vehicle on the ground, we're gonna torque this down to 55 foot-pounds. Now we reinstall the 3 covers. And now you're all set. I highly recommend you bring the vehicle to an alignment shop to get it professionally aligned.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.